Alright, I said I'd be back for the March Madness, so here I am. First, I wanted to say something real quick about the NFL lockout situation, and Adrian Peterson made a stupid comment comparing it to slavery. I just thought that was ridiculous. Both sides, let's face it, both sides are greedy. Um, get some kind of deal done. As far as the players go, I mean, I'm not going to side with the owners because they're greedy too. But as far as the players go, there's millions of Americans sitting out without work, and millions more that are barely making it. So, and I know I personally would play for the league minimum, and I'm sure a lot of other people would love to just get out there and play for the league minimum that aren't making a dime right now. So, get over both of you. Both of you are greedy. Get over your greed. Settle something. And I do think something will be settled by the time football season rolls around. I think we'll have a season with the normal schedule and everything. I think everything will be fine, ultimately. So, enough about that. It's March Madness time. So, and I've got my VCU hat, my alma mater. Of course, it's filthy. I'm not going to wear it, but. And to all of those, Dick Vitale, the Jay Billis, all of you guys at ESPN, you can stick it as far as I'm concerned, because you were wrong about you may have been right about UAB, but you were absolutely wrong about VCU, and I knew it from the get-go, and I was so excited when they got in, and then I got so angry when you started bad-mouthing them, and it was ridiculous. And now, who's laughing now after the game? It just finished a few minutes ago, so. And USC was one that I didn't think should have been in, and I think you could have replaced UAB and USC with Tech, Virginia Tech, and Colorado. And USC just did not look like they were ready to play today, which is good for us. All right, I did, as most people probably do, whether they're paying, doing an office pool or doing it for free on ESPN or wherever. I'm doing obviously more than one bracket, but I'm going to go with kind of a majority rule with my picks, with what I pick here, based on all the sheets I've done so far. And I'm gonna skip through the first couple rounds, other than what I think are upsets, because this is a hard year to pick a lot of upsets here. I mean, there are a lot of good teams that you've heard on, I'm sure, on other channels or the radio or whatever. There's a lot of good teams. There's not necessarily one superstar great team. As far as the first round goes, I don't have a lot of upsets. I do pick the 11 seed Missouri over Cincinnati. I didn't think Cincinnati deserved the seed they got. So that there's that one. And then I do have Richmond got ripped off on their seed, so I think they're going to win. And between that, and my father would kill me if I didn't pick Richmond, since that is his alma mater. And I do think VCU will beat Georgetown. I don't think the point guard for Georgetown is coming back off a broken hand. I think he's going to be rusty. So I think they'll get through. I think VCU will get through. I don't think they'll get any further than that, but I do think VCU will beat Georgetown. Not that the 10 is much of an upset over a 7, but I think Florida State will beat Texas A&M, and obviously a 9 over an 8 is not a big deal. But I do think ODU will beat Butler. Utah State can beat Kansas State. I think Utah State got a raw deal too. I think they should have been a higher seed. I think Utah State will beat Kansas State, and Michigan State, I'm picking them, if anything, the fact that I picked them to win the whole thing before the season started. So, but I do think Michigan State will beat. I think they got something to prove. So I think they'll beat UCLA. And this whole Pittsburgh bracket is the only one that bothers me. For the most part, I have the better seeds going along in these other three, with the exception of I do think Richmond will beat Louisville as well and get to the Sweet 16. But other than that, I have basically every team, and I do have UConn. Not that it's much of an upset. I have UConn beating San Diego State. The San Diego State I don't think has ever won a tournament game, so they'll win a couple, but they won't get past UConn. I think UConn's the hottest team in the country right now. So them and Ohio State and Kansas, they're right in there. Let's see, Michigan State, St. John's. I do have St. John's beating BYU as well. I don't think with Fredette being the only seemingly the only go-to guy for BYU, and the big guy was dismissed for violation of some kind of rule. So I think BYU is going to be hurting because of that. And I know there's a guy with there's one of St. John's top stars is out, but I think St. John's. Again, that's the bracket with Pittsburgh, and I don't like it. I just don't. There's no one team that sticks out, and I don't like Florida either. I don't think they deserved a 2 seed. So I do have Michigan State beating them, and it depends on the bracket. I had Michigan State in the Final Four one time. I had Wisconsin in the Final Four, which I think they'll be the ones. Although the biggest upset I have is ODU over Pittsburgh. I think ODU will beat Pittsburgh in the second round. They're the 2 top rebounding as far as rebounding differentials go. They're the top 2 in the country, and I think ODU will beat Pittsburgh at their own game. And there are times where certain brackets I have where I have ODU beating everybody and getting to the Final Four. But ultimately, if you want to go with a pick, Wisconsin, I take Wisconsin out of this bracket. I think they're I don't see Florida State beating. If they somehow get past Michigan State, I don't see them beating St. John's, or even if BYU got there, I don't see them beating BYU either. So I would say if you're going to take a team, take Wisconsin to the Final Four. As far as the Elite Eight goes, I got Ohio State, North Carolina, Duke, UConn, Kansas, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and St. John's. Or it's interchangeable with them or Michigan State as far as I'm concerned. But then you got Kansas. I got Kansas in the Final Four, Ohio State in the Final Four, and I do have UConn beating Duke. And I'll say Wisconsin, but again, that bracket I just don't like it that much. I don't think there's a real one solid team over another in that one. And so the Final Four: Ohio State, Kansas, UConn, and Wisconsin. And in every bracket, the story is the same for me. It's Ohio State and Kansas. They're the 2 best teams this year, and I think it ends up with those 2. And every time I have Ohio State winning, it'll be close. It'll be I think the game will end up in the 60s. I don't think it'll be more than I think it'll be an under 10-point game. But I think Ohio State comes out with the national championship. So that's all I have. Those are my picks. Last year I actually came in second in one of my pools, which I don't normally do. Normally I lose one of my Final Four teams too early, and it doesn't pan out for me. So, but I think this is going to be a year where not a huge amount of upsets. There's possibility Princeton could beat Kentucky, maybe Clemson could beat West Virginia. I don't see anything huge here. I know some people are saying Morehead State could beat Louisville. I don't see that happening. And I don't like Gonzaga either. I don't know where the love for Gonzaga is coming this year. They were a down year this year for them. So I think it's the better seeds are going to win out for the most part. And again, Ohio State national champions, that's what I think.